Well, as always, August marks Women's Month in South Africa. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at the auditing field and the gains that have been made by women in that sector. We'll also look at the role that women can play in ethical leadership in a sector, of course, that has faced incredible controversy and criticism over the last couple of years, and some of those scandals involving accounting irregularities. Joining me to discuss this further is Nonkululeko Gobodo. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Nonkululeko Leadership Consulting. Good evening, Ma'am Gobodo. It's a pleasure to have you with us on the program tonight.
Good evening, Cathy, and your viewers.
It's been many years since the 1980s when you became South Africa's first black CA. And if I can for a moment maybe take you into a particular point in time and get you to reflect on retrospectively what that moment meant for you.
Wow, that was over 30 years ago, Cathy. I suppose, you have this dream of becoming a chartered accountant, and one day they tell you that you've achieved it. So, first of all, it was a feeling of relief because it is so hard to study to be a chartered accountant, especially because I was married and had children at the time. And then the excitement that I am now a chartered accountant. I didn't know at the time that I was the first. I only found out the following day.
At the time, part of what you're quoted as saying when reflecting on it is that you were trying to fulfill what was a personal journey for personal fulfillment, and yet what you found was that there was an incredible amount of attention on you for what you had accomplished and what it would effectively mean for black women, that you represented so much more than just that personal accomplishment.
Exactly, Cathy, because at that time, when it turned out that I was the first, I was put on the spotlight immediately. And remember, I was just a shy girl from the Transkei, so I was like, please, I don't need all of this spotlight. But people brought me to my senses very quickly to say, you are now a role model to many, not just women, but young children. We do need these role models. So I had to take on the baton of being a leader in this space and showing women and children that they could become anything they want to be. And remember, we grew up in a society that told us that there were things that we couldn't do. So when I encountered prejudice against women for the first time, it was in the workplace. And for me, my response to it was not to fight against it, because first of all, by that time, my identity had been formed. So I responded to it by showing people who I truly am and demonstrating that, because I felt that if you feel I'm inferior, I cannot be inferior because of your opinion. So I had to stand up for not just myself, but for other women against prejudice against women. That was my mission in life, to show women that there was nothing that they could not do or be in life.
In many respects, you would have been the first black woman that would be sitting on several boards due to your occupation. You would have also have to encounter, I suppose, not just prejudice, but even racism when we look at the untransformed nature of the sector that you were entering over the last 30 years. Speak to me about how you were able to deal with those challenges, because many of those remain issues that young professionals today are still having to encounter because they're part of the system.
Yes. So my view to this thing is that I focused on myself because I knew who I was. I knew my identity. So I never allowed society to define who I am. So how I dealt with it was to stand against bullies, both white and black, in the corporate space, and to demonstrate who I am. I felt that I don't want to be involved in the broader fight or struggle against racism and prejudice, because for me, there were too many factors at play that even as human beings we didn't understand. I felt that I had no control. But now I've come to a place to understand that I do need to be involved. This is why I've started this initiative called Awakened, to deal with racism and prejudice against women, and I'm writing a book on the matter.
Mm.
But still, my focus is not on broader society. It is on the individual. Because for me, we're spending too much energy on the other. The other must change. Unconscious bias, prejudice, and all of that. But for me, the power is in the individual themselves. And this is what we're underestimating. Because if you can change the individual in terms of what they think of themselves, remember that even these beliefs that we have about ourselves as women or black people are shaped by society. And they come from myths. Racism is based on a myth that black people are inferior, they are lazy, they cannot do anything. Women are weak, their place is in the kitchen, and all of that. And so if you focus on changing how women think about themselves, what I want to see is to see women awaken to who they truly are. I want to see them awaken to their authentic power. Because once you do no longer see yourself as inferior, there is no boardroom that can define who you are. There is no one who can define who you are. So this initiative is based on that.
Sure, and it sounds like an absolutely exciting initiative. And just on the issue of bullying, in many instances, people are afraid to stand up to bullying in the corporate workspace because often it's deciding whether or not you want to limit whatever career opportunities you may have as a result of speaking out, or even risk your livelihood because you don't know what the response of that institution or even the individuals is going to be. And often these are individuals with incredible power.
Yes, Cathy, I mean, the issue here is that if you feel inferior, you'll be afraid to speak out. You'll be afraid to stand for yourself. Mm. So when you face bullying, you will succumb and submit to bullying. Because first of all, you've submitted to how society has defined you. But when you lead from your authentic power, there is no one who can bully you because you're not fighting against anyone. You are just who you are. You are who you are. And therefore, when you move from who you are, not what the other believes, but what you believe about yourself, then you are powerful and no one can touch you. This is how I've dealt with racism and prejudice in the corporate sector. Because if I'm the chairman of the audit committee, right, and I know who I am, when I'm being bullied in that position, I always move from my authentic power as the chairman. I don't report to you. You report to me as far as auditing in this company is concerned. And therefore, I've dealt with those bullies and they've come back and apologize to me when I stand up for myself. That's why we need people to believe in who they truly are.
What would you say are some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned while climbing up the corporate ladder that you can share with us tonight?
Well, I suppose the most important thing is to understand that when you believe in yourself, as I say, that it's not what the boss thinks, it's not what the boyfriend thinks, it's not what the husband thinks. What is most important is what you think of yourself. So focus on changing what you think of yourself. When you shed off all these things that you've been associated with, you then stand on your authentic power. And then because you know who you are, the other person, the other knows who you are, and therefore they start to respect you and treat you accordingly.
Do you think that the industry or the sector, the auditing sector, has transformed enough in terms of, when we look at the involvement of women, and not just at a managerial role, but I think even at the role of partner, are we seeing that there are more black women that are going into those spaces?
I was a partner in a firm, and it was actually very sad to see this. And as much as I was focused on developing women and all of that, the sector itself is so challenging that there is so much pressure. There are deadlines. There are times when you don't have a weekend that you stop working at 12 every night. And so when we are preparing women for partnership, that's when they actually leave and resign to say, I want to start a family. There is no way I can start a family under these pressures. So we've never seen the kind of numbers that we wanted to see because of that. So even as the accounting profession, we need to find a way of accommodating women in the sector if we want to see these numbers increase. Yes, we've got more and more women qualified as chartered accountants today, but those women do not get to the top because of challenges in the family. That's why we need to change the situation in the family as well, so that women are supported in the family and in the corporate space.
Do you think, though, that corporate itself is creating room and opportunity for women to be able to take up senior roles?
Not enough, because first of all, the environment is so hostile against women that women sometimes are afraid to lift up their hand and say, I will take up the role. So women need to be nurtured from the beginning and be prepared for these senior positions. Because when we develop women in an environment where they are affirmed, they will build that confidence and not be afraid to take these big positions. But at the same time, we know that men meet at the golf course where we are not. So when those positions come, we're not the first people that they think of. They think of the friends they were playing golf with. So we do need to consciously make sure that we do position women for these positions.
You are one of the people that has also taken it upon yourself to develop and, ignite leadership within the sector. Speak to me a little bit about how you're going about doing that.
Well, leadership is all about building leaders who are leading from their authentic power. And for me, and authentic leadership. Authentic leadership for me is about leading from your authentic power. It is about leading from love and respect of yourself. Because when you love and respect yourself, it will be easy for you to accommodate the other, to love and respect the other. As they say, do unto others as you would like done unto you. So this whole thing of thinking that leaders must just be tough and treat people anyhow is not going to do in the 21st century, because the younger generation is not going to be able to take that. So if we want to create spaces that where everybody can develop, where there's proper engagement, where there's creativity flowing in the organization, we need to move to authentic leadership, which is leading according to authentic power from a place of love and respect for yourself and the other. That is my philosophy.
Speak to me about the amount of hard work and even sacrifice that it would have taken to get you to where you are today, to be as successful as you are.
Yes, I suppose this is a decision, because when you are a mother to 3 children like I was, it was hard to make those decisions, to choose to pursue my career. It was a great sacrifice. But I made the decision to say that if I sacrifice for my children, I will never be fulfilled. I want to pursue a career. So I had to find that balance, which never, there's no balance really. It's all sacrifice. And my children did suffer because of that, because we have to work hard. I felt that the market would not wait for me if I don't work hard, if I'm not disciplined, if I'm not there at the table, when these things are being discussed. So it came at great sacrifice. And not everyone will be able to sacrifice like that. We can't expect everyone to do that. But it's a choice for me. It's a choice. It was a choice to pursue my career. And looking back now, I have no regrets, because I've managed to achieve what I've achieved. I changed the landscape of the accounting profession. where people said that we couldn't have big accounting firms. Today we have big accounting firms, because if we don't create spaces where women and black people can develop, we'll forever be perpetuating this whole narrative that women are weak and inferior.
Did you find yourself having to explain why you did what you did, even to your family members, your friends, people who lost out on time with you because you were working?
Yeah, I always say that there was a time of healing for my own children, because I remember my son at 20 saying, "Mama, you were never there. You didn't attend my graduation at preschool." I'm like, "You're 20. Why are we still talking about this?" But I realized that my children were wounded because of the choices that I made. So I spent a lot of time, and it took a lot of time to just work through those wounds and make sure that my children are healed from them, and to make them also see that they also had a role model in a mother who was accomplished. That's why now they are powerful as they are. My son is the MD of wealth at Old Mutual. My other son is running a mining company, and my daughter is running a production company. You know, that they're able to do those things because they had a role model in me.
When is the book coming out? I mean, such fascinating wisdom that you're sharing with us tonight. How soon can we expect it?
The what?
The book. Sorry, the book that you're writing.
The book is being written. The book is being written. Things are overtaking myself, but I'm launching the initiative. The initiative Awakened is moving forward.
Absolutely great news, and it's been such a pleasure chatting with you tonight on News at Prime. Nonkululeko Gobodo, she's the Chief Executive Officer of Nonkululeko Leadership Consulting.